Amun Ra, the supreme creator god of Egyptian mythology. Before there was anything, there was mighty Amun Ra, who called himself the first ruler, which... Dude, you're literally by yourself in nothingness, calling yourself ruler. Like, calm down, big boy. That's by default. All alone in the world, Amun Ra then did what any man would do when surrounded by nothing. Masturbate. We all know it. All by himself, Amun Ra shot off 2 divine nuts into the nothingness around him, and those nuts became his offspring, Shu and Tefnut. Yeah, Tefnut. The sheer audacity to literally name the second child after their own nut. But hey, do you, Ra, do you. I highly suggest reading the description notes on this video, because whether his name is Amun Ra or just Atum or Ra, it's complicated. And I'll continue with just calling him Ra from now on, but read the notes, seriously. Ra's children, Shu and Tefnut, represented 2 elements respectively, air, water. But only the Avatar can master off. Ra and his kids were a happy small family of 3. Until Dad of the Year Ra lost sight of his children. Like, you had one job as a father. Look after your 2 kids who next to you are the only things that exist, literally. How do you lose sight of them? I don't know. Luckily, Shu and Nut Jr. were just going for a swim in the water that was born with Nut Jr.'s existence, and when his children returned to him, Ra cried such tears of joy that humanity was born from those tears. So now, Ra was actually the ruler of something, not just a lonely masturbator calling himself ruler of something, and so Ra decided it was time for an official title, Pharaoh, the first Pharaoh. Now, if you know anything about mythology, you know 2 things are always a safe bet. Incest, and the ruler dying at the hands of his inbred incest family. Well, enter both. Brother and sister, Shu and Nut Jr. had the children Geb and Nut, aka Geb and Nut Jr. II. For historical and mythological accuracy and respect for the language and culture, I have to let you know that Tefnut is probably pronounced Tefnut, and his offspring Nut is Nut. I'm not really sure, it's hard to figure out the pronunciation of ancient Egyptian, but we'll keep going with Nut Jr. and Nut Jr. II because it makes me happy. The new godly siblings, Geb and Nut Jr. II, then had some inbred children of their own, 2 boys, Osiris and Set, and 2 girls, Isis and Nephtys. All the while, the humans Ra created and ruled over as the first pharaoh were thriving and growing, and as time went by and Ra's physical body grew old and weak, humanity grew tired of Ra's rule and revolted against him to the point that eventually his 2nd generation inbred great-grandson Osiris had to usurp him to keep the peace. How exactly Osiris usurped the throne is unknown, but it seemed to have been rather peaceful, not like Osiris was beating up seniors like he's Jake Paul. So Grandpa Ra was delegated to being the sun god, forever destined to defend the sun against the lord of evil and darkness, a pep in an epic endless adventure that should really be made into a movie. Like, it has all the makings of an epic anime even. You'll love it. But we're not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna go with blue balls for now. Sorry ladies, that's how it feels. More on that epic adventure of Grandpa Ra later in the video, because for now we enter the age of Osiris. Keeping with family traditions, Osiris married one of his sisters, Isis, to be at Osiris' side while he ruled. And under his rule, humanity in Egypt fully evolved from primitive lives. He taught them agriculture, weaving, the art of making bread. He introduced laws. Osiris basically created civilization as we know it today. And simply put, Osiris was a great pharaoh, until he decided that he also needed to have sex with his other sister, who was already married to his brother.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, for clarity's sake, that would be his sister Nephtys, who is also sister to Osiris' wife and sister Isis, while being wife to her husband and brother Set. So Osiris took a page out of Zeus's book of how to be a prime predator and shapeshifted into his brother Set, slept with his sister Nephtys, and asked himself,
if you had one shot, one opportunity.
So he got his sister pregnant. One shot. One opportunity. Then his brother Set was like, what do you think this is? My pervy family? You can't have both of our sisters, bro. And Set got mad, man. So now he wanted his brother Osiris dead, and he invited him over for dinner where he had a gift for him. A coffin. Not suspicious at all. Your brother giving you a coffin after you deceived and banged his wife and left her pregnant. And Set was all like, look, bro, I prepared this beautiful coffin for you. Brother Osiris, I hope it fits, try it out. And Osiris might have introduced civilization, but he wasn't the brightest bulb in the Ennead, because this guy tried the coffin. He was like, yeah, it fits, bro, I love it. See if you can still close it. Yeah, still fits. Set shut that coffin, threw it in the ocean to drown his brother immediately. But, and this is one of those Kardashian-sized, big butts, you get me? Their sister, Osiris's wife, Isis, retrieved the coffin to rescue her husband Osiris, but before she could nurture him back to health, Set stole the body again, and this time he chopped Osiris into 42 pieces. So now you think Osiris is dead, right? Nah. Enter the illegitimate son he had with his other sister Nephtys, Anubis, who for some reason had the head of a dog and was the god of the dead, and conveniently was insta-born and insta-grew into an adult. Anubis stepped up, helped his stepmom and auntie Isis look for all the 42 pieces of Osiris like Dragon Balls, and once they found them, Anubis performed the first mummification ever on his father, Osiris, and brought him back to life. Mummified, undead, blue, covered in bandages, like crappy kind of life, but life. And after dying and coming back like Jon Snow, Osiris was done with our world, and he was like,
my watch is ended.
So befitting his half-dead existence, Osiris settled for ruling the underworld alongside his son Anubis. And his brother Set, he took over the throne to rule happily ever after. Of course not. No, there was still the son Osiris had with his wife Isis, a son who was the rightful heir to the throne and out for vengeance against his uncle. And that son was Horus wanted revenge against his uncle Set for killing his father and usurping the throne, so he planned to take his evil uncle down. And what you will see turns out to be a surprisingly R, if not X-rated version of The Lion King. You'll see when we get there. Since the throne was Horus's birthright, he was willing to do anything to take his uncle Set down. And so he took his uncle to court. Yeah, you didn't expect a little bureaucracy in your epic mythology tale, did you? Egyptian mythology actually had a council, and not everything was solved with murdering and violence. No, and the council was resided over by the triple OG and current sun god Ra. And Ra, in his infinite wisdom, had a brilliant idea on how Horus and Set could settle this conflict. Why don't you both transform into hippos, and whoever can stay underwater longer gets to rule? Yeah, I'm not kidding, guys. That was his suggestion. And so they did that. And Horus told his mother Isis that while they're hippos underwater, she should just stab Set to death to settle this and get revenge for her husband and his father Osiris. But Isis was still Set's sister, because remember, complicated incest tree. Horus' mother Isis couldn't get herself to kill her evil brother, which of course Horus could understand. So Horus chopped his mother's head off. No chill. Luckily, another god quickly intervened and replaced Isis's head with that of a cow, which is awesome that you were there to act so quickly. But bruh, a cow, they couldn't find a better animal like a cat, a lion, or something cool. I don't know. So Isis had a cow head now, and Horus fought Set on his own, except this was no longer a battle of bureaucracy or hippo contests. Nah. Now blood was to be spilled. So Horus was like,
you lucky on that day I was acting cool, cuz I told you I ain't got time for that, but today I got time, cuz.
Horus and Set had many bloody battles over the years. Over and over they fought, with Horus once infamously losing his eye in one of the battles that got bloodier and bloodier clashes every time, so violent between gods, so powerful they shook the universe in their battle, all building up to an epic climax where Set invited his nephew Horus over for dinner, seduced him, and slept with him in order to shoot his semen into Horus to make him unworthy to rule. I am again not joking. What Set didn't notice is that Horus actually caught the semen in his hand and threw it into the ocean, and so his uncle's semen was not in him, but Horus knew exactly how to flip the script now. So in the morning, Horus came on Uncle Set's breakfast on his lettuce, and Set ate Horus's semen without noticing. I told you, X-rated Lion King. Also, enjoy your salad dressing later today. You're welcome. So the next time they were before the council, the judge, to decide who would rule, Set proudly said, "My seed is in Horus. He is defiled, unworthy to rule. I am the ruler." And the council was like, yeah, that makes sense, huh? But only if you can prove it. And so they called to Set's semen, but it didn't answer from Horus's stomach. No, the semen, which obviously could talk, answered from the ocean that Horus threw it into. Then Horus proudly said that his semen is within Set, and that's why he should rule. And when they called to Horus's semen, it answered from within Set's belly. And that's how Horus got the throne. So about Ra being the sun god on epic adventures. In Egyptian mythology, light, the sun, is not taken for granted. Every night, the sun is threatened to be devoured in the underworld by the evil snake Apep, the lord of darkness. And if Apep succeeds, the sun will never rise again. We would live in darkness and misery forever. Basically what's going to happen to our planet because we can't get a handle on climate change. Yeah, sorry kids, your kids' future sucks. The only thing keeping that from happening is Ra, the former creator god turned old man usurped turned old man ferrying the sun. Of course, an old man can't be the protagonist of a tale that sees him defending the sun against the lord of darkness every cycle, so Ra had a powerful bodyguard at his side to help him protect the sun. Sekhmet, the bloodthirsty. Also known as Bastet because she kind of has major schizophrenia going on, but let me explain. Remember when Ra was a lonely masturbator turned first pharaoh ruling over humanity? Remember how humanity wasn't feeling him anymore and started to revolt against the aging pharaoh? Yeah, when all that went down, Ra was like,
"Put some respect on my name."
And he decided that the way to get people to respect him was to kill people. But since his physical body was too old and weak, he needed a henchman. And Ra took a page out of Odin's book of How to Doom Your Own World, and he ripped out one of his eyes, the famous Eye of Ra. That eye then transformed into his tool for violence. It turned into Sekhmet, a lioness warrior that descended upon Egypt's heretics and slaughtered everybody that disrespected Ra. Everybody, like, she didn't stop, like, ever. She just kept slaughtering everybody. She slaughtered innocents and the people who actually kind of liked Ra, just everybody. Sekhmet was in a blood trance, completely out of control, and Ra was kind of like, that didn't go as planned. Maybe I am too old. And he had to step in by using her bloodthirst against her. He mixed the human blood that she had spilled plenty of with liters of red wine and got Sekhmet so drunk that she passed out. And while she was out, he removed the violent essence from her, which turned her from a lioness into a cat, from Sekhmet the bloodthirsty into Bastet. Fast forward to old man Ra now being the old ferryman of the sun, and he called on Bastet to help and protect him and the sun against the lord of darkness, Apep. And though Bastet was no longer a fierce, super violent lioness, the cat-faced goddess was still a warrior. And every night, after the sun left the sky and had to travel through the 12 gates of the underworld, each connecting the 12 regions of the underworld, each taking exactly 1 hour to pass through until the sun rises again 12 hours later, every night, as the sun undertook said journey, Ra ferried it along, and Bastet had to fight Apep, the Lord of Darkness, to make sure the sun can complete its journey through the dark. Of course, even though his physical body was weak and old, Ra was still a god, and he did his part in the battle. But over time, humanity started to worship the sun less and less, and so Ra's power grew weaker and weaker, while at the same time humanity waged more and more wars and embraced the darkness that came with it, which meant that the power of the Lord of Darkness and Evil, Apep, his power grew. So eventually, the eternal battle tilted in Apep's favor, and Ra, Bastet, and the sun were swallowed by the evil Snake Lord and his darkness, long enough for the first solar eclipse to happen. Luckily, obviously, because we have the sun, they managed to escape, but they knew that they needed more help in this eternal battle going forward. Enter Set. Remember the dude who ate the semen? Good old Uncle Set. After Horus defeated his uncle with his pimp juice, he banished him into free agency, and so Set was forced to sign up with Team Sun to help them in their eternal battle. Set was basically the Vegeta of the group, always pouting, always angry, and whenever Set is angry, we now see thunder in the sky, for he had become the Egyptian god of thunder. But it was exactly that power of Set's that helped Ra and Bastet in their fight, and to this day the trio fights and defeats the Lord of Darkness every night, so that we get to watch the sun rise every day.